Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how you can make your own faux leather braided bracelet. This one is actually an adjustable one, so what that means is I can pull it up tight around my wrist, but when I want to take it off, it just slides along these cords. So what you'll need if you want to make one of your very own leather bracelets is you're going to need some scissors, you're going to need some glue, you're going to need 5 strands of leather or faux leather, whatever you have. You need them to be at least 1 foot long. You're going to need 4 strands of some kind of jewelry cord that's similar to wax jewelry cord. This also needs to be about 1 foot long. You can do a little shorter if you need to. And then you're going to need some kind of string about 8 inches long in order to create the adjustable part, if that's something you want to do. I'm using, this is called craft thread, which is what you use to make like friendship bracelets and stuff. So yeah, 12 inches for the leather, 12 inches for the jewelry cord, 8 inches for the craft thread. All right, let's get started. All right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is take 2 of your jewelry cords here, and you're gonna tie knots at the ends of both of them. So I went ahead and did that off screen. All right, and then the next thing is we're gonna get our leather strands, and we are going to line them up all nice and pretty and even. We're going to take one of our knotted strands and we are going to place it about 1 inch so that the knot is about 1 inch from the end of the leather ends. So then we're going to take one of our unknotted strands and we're going to place the end even with the end of the knotted strand. So right now we've got our 5 strands all nice and even. On top of those, we've got our knotted strand and our unknotted strand about 1 inch from the end. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take our unknotted strand and we're going to begin wrapping it around all of the leather strands and the knotted strand. However, rather than knotting from the inside and then moving out towards the end of the leather, what I actually want you to do is begin close to the end of the leather and begin wrapping inwards towards your knot. The reason I'm having you do this is because if you don't do it this way, what's going to happen is your entire thing is just going to unravel the instant you let it go, and that's not going to work. So as you can see, I'm wrapping towards the knot on the knotted strand. What this is doing is this is securing this knotted strand in place so that it's coming out from the inside of this. All right, I'm gonna try and wrap this right up to the end of my knot. All right, so I've done that. I don't know if you can see very well, but my knot is just like right there. So the way that I'm gonna secure this is I'm going to relax my cord a little bit so that my last loop that I did is going to come up so that I can see there's a hole. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end of my jewelry cord that I've been wrapping and push it through that loop and pull it up tight. And that's going to secure my loop so that my whole thing that I just wrapped doesn't unravel. So now as you can see when I pull on this, it's staying in place because this knot is holding it in. When I let go, it's going to hold. Now, as you can see, we've got a lot of unpretty looking ends there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut those short and I'm gonna secure them with glue just because otherwise my stuff is gonna fray and come undone. And we don't want that. Yours might not though, if you have higher quality. All right, I don't wanna cut them too short. Otherwise your knots will come undone. I actually just had that happen. This is take 2 because my knot came undone and this whole thing unraveled. So learn from my mistakes is what I'm saying, friends. All right, so I've glued the ends. That's gonna help both hold the knots in place and keep the ends from fraying. And now we're gonna begin braiding. So I'm gonna teach you how to do, this is called a Celtic 5-strand braid. You can do any braiding pattern you want. This is your bracelet, but this is just one that I like because it looks like a standard 3-strand braid, but it's a little bit chunkier. All right, so what you'll want to do is you're going to lay your strands out flat and you're going to separate them so that you have 2 groups of 2 and 1 single strand. I'm choosing to, and your single strand is going to be on the outside on your right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your single strand and you're going to move it so that it moves over the top of the 2 center strands. And that'll be your first motion. So that's what it looks like after you complete your first step. The next thing you'll want to do, though, is we're going to rearrange these actually so that we have a slightly different configuration of our groups. So this time we're going to take our left outermost strand. And we're going to move this strand so that it makes a new 2 group with this one. So then we're going to move this left outermost strand over the 2 in the middle. And then we're going to repeat again where we take our right outermost strand and move it over the 2 center strands. And we're just going to keep doing that over and over again. So as you can see, my braid is very loose right now. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up so it's a little prettier looking. And now I'm just going to keep braiding. So we'll check back in after I've braided enough to wrap around my wrist. Okay, so I think I have braided enough for what I'm going to do. So you'll notice my braid doesn't actually wrap all the way around my wrist, but if you're doing an adjustable style where you're going to be ending it in the same way that you started it, like I'm going to be doing, you need to compensate for that that you haven't created your end yet. So I actually might undo mine a little bit because I think it might be a smidge too long. So yeah, you want it a little bit shorter than you really think it is because you have to imagine what's it going to look like when I have another one of these on the end. So I think mine's actually going to be a little too long for me, so I'm going to undo it. And now we're going to do the same thing that we did when we started this, but in reverse. So rather than, starting all the way out on these ends and measuring in, what we're actually going to be using as our point of reference is the braid. So I'm going to put my knotted end right on top of the end of my braid. So because what's going to happen is my braid is going to relax a little bit as I'm wrapping this, unless I'm really good at my tension, which I'm not. And then again, we're going to take our unknotted strand, we're going to put it right next to our knotted strand, and we are going to pull this out. So it's about 1 inch or so from the end of the braid, and we're going to start wrapping, again, moving back towards the braid rather than moving away from the braid, just so that it really secures it. I'm not going to cut my leather at this point because I want to leave myself plenty of options. It could be after I try on my bracelet, it's not the right length and I need a little bit longer. So just remember, you can always, cut later. You can't resurrect it. All right, so I've wrapped right up to my knot. And I did this wrong, but in an ideal world, try and make sure that your knot that you're actually putting is on the back side of your bracelet. I did that wrong, so that you don't have your knot on the front. Learn from my mistakes. And then same deal again, we're going to loosen up that loop, push the end of our working thread, or the thread that we're wrapping with, through that, pull it tight. Make sure that's secure. And once again, we're going to trim our ends and secure them with glue so that they don't come undone. Alrighty, so that's what we've got so far. Yeah, could have done my braid a little nicer, but you're better at this than me, I'm sure. So I just got in a hurry. All right, so let's see and check my braid measurement. All right, so I think I actually made this a little longer than I wanted it to be. For what we're doing right now, though, I'm just gonna keep trucking. So careful not to cut this. I'm gonna trim the ends of my leather. All right, so that's what we've got so far. So as you might have noticed, these are really long, probably much longer than you want them to be. I'm gonna leave them long though until later on, because so what you could do, if you don't want to make your bracelet adjustable, You can just cut these until they're the right length for you. Go ahead and knot the end again, and then you could tie them with a knot around your wrist. I personally find that a little bit too hard trying to do one-handed. I'm not talented enough to do that. So what I like to do is make mine adjustable. So if you're gonna do that, what I'm gonna have you do is take the 2 cords, we're gonna lay them right side by side, and this is where our craft thread comes in. I was originally gonna do this brown, but it's hard to see on camera, so while the brown may be more aesthetically pleasing and fit into our color scheme better, for orange, you're actually gonna be able to see what I'm doing, so that seems kind of important. So we're gonna take our thread here, and we're gonna move it underneath our 2 cords, and then we're going to take this part of the strand here on the left side, and we're gonna move it back over the top of our 2 cords. We're leaving this little loop right here. We're not gonna pull that up tight. Then we're gonna take our topmost thread, move it down so that it's over the top of this. So it's on top of here. And then we're going to take this end that we just moved down on top. We're going to go underneath our 2 black cords, and we're gonna put it up through the loop on the other side that we made. So just to show you what I mean, I'm gonna leave that loose so you can see. So that's what it looks like, and then we're gonna pull it tight. All right, so that's one done. And we're gonna do a similar process, but rather this time than starting with our left and moving to the right, this time we're gonna take our right and move to the left. So we're gonna take our right, move it over the top of the 2 cords. This time take our topmost thread again, move down on top, go under our 2 black cords, and up through the loop on this side, and pull it tight. So we're just gonna keep repeating that, alternating sides. Again, moving from the left to the right on top of those black cords, taking our uppermost cord, moving it down and on top of this one, going underneath our 2 black cords, and up through the loop that we created on this side. There we go. And I would recommend doing this knot at least 4 times, just because, you know, give yourself enough to work with. So before I trim that, I'm just gonna show you how this works. Now when I pull on these 2 threads, that pulls up, and then when I pull on it, it pulls out. So now you have an adjustable bracelet. Once again, because our threads are extra long, I'm gonna trim this really short, and then you are going to need to glue it once again. If you do not glue this knot pretty thoroughly, it's going to come undone, and you're not gonna have an adjustable bracelet anymore. So again, cutting it real short. I know some people who use clear nail polish for this part, or glue, doesn't really matter, just as long as you are securing this. So got them real short. All right, perfect. So we're basically done. I'm gonna trim up my cords a little bit, just because I feel like this is way too long for my purposes. But you know, again, you can always cut them shorter later. You can't make them longer, so don't cut till you absolutely have to. Just gonna tie knots again at the end of those. Otherwise, you're just gonna pull right out of your adjustable bracelet. Slip that on. Hold one knot with one of my fingers, pull with the other hand, and boom, got another bracelet done. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us today. Please feel free to check out our website, mesacountylibraries.org, for more videos on other cool activities you can do at home. Thanks, and have a great day.